to talk about other things, even if we run out of time now. At the beginning of the pandemic, as we now know, because of emails we've seen from Dr. Fauci, some of the world's leading epidemiologists and virologists were writing to him saying, look, it's extremely unlikely this was naturally evolving. This almost definitely came from a lab leak based on DNA analysis and all sorts of other claims. And within 3 weeks, some of those very same people became part of the consensus, signing the Lancet letter saying that only crazy conspiracy theorists think that this was a lab leak, something that 3 weeks ago they were telling him in private they thought they were almost certain of. You have now become somebody, despite having been chosen at first to be this head of the Lancet task force on COVID, who has openly said, we don't know the answer, but it's clearly plausible that it might have come from a lab leak. And you have even suggested it may not even come from a Chinese lab leak, but from a US lab leak. Has your views on that question evolved over time? And what is your rationale for thinking it may have come from an American facility?
Yeah, well, I learned a lot in the process of being chairman of the Lancet COVID-19 Commission. So when I was asked, I have a fair amount of experience in public health. I helped to organize originally the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, TB, and Malaria, and had chaired a commission for WHO and had worked on epidemic diseases. So I was very familiar with the community, and I was friends with Fauci, by the way, going back to 2001. I wrote him a memo why we needed a plan that eventually became PEPFAR, even with the number that I gave right at the beginning that we need a $3 billion a year plan. And I went to brief him and Condi Rice and so forth in the first weeks of the Bush administration. So, okay, I was very honored to take on the assignment of chair of the commission. And I listened around and I thought, well, the scientists have said in an article in Nature Medicine in March 2020 that this was natural. Basically, they said irrefutably so, essentially. And I thought that was plausible because that's what pandemics are. They are zoonoses. That means they go from animals to humans, and that's what SARS was, and on and on. So I actually I hired the guy. It's absolutely fascinating. I didn't hire him. There was no money involved, but I asked Peter Daszak of EcoHealth Alliance, which is in the center of the the
villain of the COVID pandemic for a lot of people. Yeah,
I said, Peter, why don't you be chair of our task force, not of the commission, but of the task force working on the origin of this virus, because you know a lot about it. You know what's going on in China. You know about bat viruses and so forth. Okay, that's stepping into it. So I did. I stepped into it, and we started. And I started to get a bit of hate mail towards the end of 2020, which is not so unusual. But, you know, Sachs, why did you put this guy in? And a Republican congressman, this is disgraceful. And I wrote back saying, look, I'm completely open-minded. I've given the assignment to them, find out the truth of what this is. And if it's from a lab, we're going to, and if it's possible, we're going to track that down. And believe me, he doesn't make the judgment. There are 28 commissioners. I'm in charge of this and so forth. Okay. So you start seeing, because of the relentless work of the organization you started, The Intercept and U.S. Right to Know, we start getting strange things coming out, which is, but it took a long time just to get those first FOIAs coming out. And things start dropping that are a little weird. And then I got a wonderful briefing by a top scientist who explained to me, Jeff, it's, you know, it's not what is being said. Let me explain to you the research that was going on. And I was like, oh, my God. You know, he explained gain-of-function research to me for the first time in 2 or 3 hours of pretty detailed technical work. And he said, go read the NIH proposals. So I went online afterwards and I read that aim one is to test these chimeric viruses in the following way. And oh shit, I got to figure out what's going on. So I went to Dashik the next day and I said, Peter, I need to see your full research proposal. And his line to me was, no, my lawyers say I can't share that with you. I said, are you kidding? We're in a commission that is a transparent public commission. No, my lawyers say I can't share that with you.
The most significant pandemic in almost a century.
So I said you're off the task force. Forget it. We're not going to have that. But all of that's a long way to say things started to be peeled back in a most remarkable way. I give huge credit to The Intercept and to U.S. Right to Know, and to a whistleblower who posted the decisive document, which is the DARPA Diffuse research proposal that was posted by a whistleblower that is almost a cookbook, how to make a SARS-CoV-2 virus. Well, this became rather a fascinating thing, because the more we knew, the more we could see that what those scientists had written was phony. That's first of all. Second, that Fauci had been lying. That was absolutely clear. And third, I have to correct you, Glenn, it wasn't 3 weeks, it was 3 days after the February 1 conference call where they said, I can't figure out how this could have come out of nature.
Right.
3 days later, they have the first draft of a paper that's called Proximal Origins of SARS-CoV-2, which is the one that says it's definitely natural. But the bottom line is the following. First, there's a weird part of this virus called a furin cleavage site. It's 4 amino acids, which make the virus highly infectious and deadly. Second, that was a target of known research. Third, it was the target of the DARPA Diffuse project. Fourth, it was a major target of University of North Carolina in partnership with the Wuhan Institute of Virology. It's obvious there's something to explain here. Maybe it's a weird coincidence. Maybe, and I think more than likely, it's part of the research gone awry. But not only did Fauci hide this, and also the public, as usual, didn't learn that already in the spring of 2020, the Department of Energy, because it's Lawrence Livermore Laboratory, and Department of Energy was one, and another.
The FBI
had already found that there was a good chance that this was coming out of a lab, and
right.
no one was telling us any. It's the weirdest thing. The Republicans say we need to investigate. I was just with Senator Rand Paul. He's done a great job of saying we need to find out what this is. He can't get Democrats on this because protecting Fauci or protecting Biden, I don't know what they think they're doing. How the heck did the origin of SARS-CoV-2 become a partisan issue? That is so weird, so strange, so unpleasant. And yet that's how our politics has basically disintegrated.
It's bizarre. Even